trying to post this show so that people can watch us live as well as listen to us live. I'm always doing this because we have the broadcast started. So, however, it is Friday morning. What day is today? The 26th?
Yes, June 26th.
June 26th. And I am Aisha Goins. Today I want to kind of discuss a couple of things. One of the things I want to talk about is so Donald Trump did a whole speech about immigration just recently, how he said he was going to build the greatest wall ever, and nobody would ever be able to get across it, and he was going to make Mexico pay for it. And so immigration is a huge deal, and I talked about it recently. Immigration is a huge thing across the land. It's not just in America, it's an issue across the world. If anyone's paying attention to what's going on in Dominican Republic, in the next 24 hours, they're supposed to have a mass deportation that's happening. The world is watching that to see if they're really going to do that. In Italy, they have a situation where the people from Middle East are floating across just because they want to live. Really, if you want to just put it basic, there's a lot of war going on and a lot of deaths, and they're risking their lives just to kind of float in the ocean just to live, right? And so Italy and France is having a huge situation with their immigration. So immigration is an issue across the globe, okay? Maybe in some countries it's not. They've gotten it figured out, However, I said that to say Donald Trump think that he has the solution. He said, build a great wall. Now, I want people to remember that China really went all the way out of their way to tear down the Great Wall. It was, a huge feat. I remember I was in school and it was all over the news. It was one of the greatest accomplishments for blending families and worlds that ever happened, next to Anwar Sadat. Nevertheless, this happened, right? Now we have a man who wants to recreate, or, he's trying to reproduce something that already has been said shouldn't happen, okay? So he wants to put up this great wall. Now, I know we haven't chosen a Republican candidate, and, and I'm not talking as a Republican either. What I am saying is, somebody should just tell Donald Trump, just because you got money doesn't mean that you can, be the president. In regards to that, the Miss USA has, and I'm a little irritated with this as well, but Miss USA has decided that she will not continue as co-host moving forward as Miss USA because she's offended by the remarks of Donald Trump, and that he's even using that as a platform. Now, I love when people stand up for their issues, and if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. That's what they say. But under the circumstances, I think she kind of jumped the gun with this, because he's not the president. He's not even the president-elect, right? He's not the Republican. Yeah, he's just some random dude, right? Yeah. So she gave up her space that she worked hard for and earned because of something some guy said, really. Like,
I think it's more about peer pressure.
Yeah.
Really.
I was just like, when I read that, I was saddened. I was extremely saddened because I was like, man, I can't imagine. I did a few years back, I did a Miss Big USA or something like that. Okay. Miss Plus USA. I only did the prelims. You know what I'm saying? I know Miss Big Girl. Miss Big Girl. But I only did like the fundraising part. Okay. I didn't even get into the pageant portion of it, right? Yeah. And that was a lot of work. Like just calling people saying I'm running for Miss Big Girl. Hey, big girl, Nevertheless, I said that to say I can't imagine what she had to go through just to be crowned Miss, is Miss USA? No. Yeah, Miss USA. So for her to be crowned Miss USA, I just was like, I don't know if I could give that up. I don't, you know what I mean? That was just nuts because Miss Universe is actually Asian, right? She's Asian and
I don't
black.
even know who Miss Universe.
Yeah, Miss Universe is Miss China is Miss
Okay.
Universe, and she just happens to be mixed.
Wow.
Yes, it's really odd too because she said, and I'm just jumping around. This is my editorial, but it is really odd because I read an article with her, and she said race is an issue across the globe.
It is.
So she's she's actually Asian.
Yes.
Her mother is Asian. She's Asian, and she speaks Japanese, right?
Yeah.
That's her first language.
Yeah.
And so she says she sits at restaurants sometimes, and the people feed her, and they'll comment on her and tell her, "I gotta turn Rolando. You can't be texting me in the middle of the show."
And I think I know who you're talking about because I saw something on Facebook where this young lady, she looks completely black to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, she does.
And
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was
Very
sitting
tall
there,
and slender.
exactly.
Yes.
Mhm.
She said that she is the funniest thing. She said when she goes to eat and she orders food,
Mhm.
then what they do is they'll tell her, "Your Japanese is so great."
Mhm.
And she's like, "I am Japanese. That's why." So it's kind of funny. So Rolando just informed me that they are canceling Trump's pageant.
Mm.
So after all of this man, I don't want to call him a fool, because
Yeah.
God loves fools and babies, but
Yeah.
they are canceling the Donald Trump pageant.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I just really I cannot believe it. He said a big great wall too.
Yeah.
I was just like,
sometimes he just talks to himself speak, honestly.
and he probably would have been. I would have probably kind of been on board if he had not said a big great wall.
Mhm.
Like if he had just said, "I'm going to build a wall," I kind of been like, okay, I get that,
Okay.
because immigration is an issue. It is. Obama's been talking about it I'm not okay. So here's the thing about Obama. So all of us, as a black woman, I love Obama because, I love Obama.
Yeah.
I just don't love the things Obama does. So because I want to call him president. So President Barack Obama when he talked about immigration, he put some things in flow that I wasn't really a fan of. Okay. And one of the reasons why is, so immigration is a huge issue in my family because my family is part Latin. Okay. So, and actually my brothers, their girlfriends and wives, they're Latin as well. So immigration is a huge issue in our family. And so the idea of deportation after you've been a resident for so long, all of that affects us personally. But I will say this: what's fair is fair is fair. And one of the things that President Barack did that I'm not really a fan of in immigration is he focused only on the Mexican border. Now, immigration is an issue across the land. So we have people who are here from France, who are here from Jamaica, who are here from, and they're still delayed in getting their papers because he neglected to make immigration, to make citizenship available across the board. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He really just focused on the Mexican border. Yeah. And so what happens is if you're not Mexican descent, then it makes immigration still a hardship for you. Okay. And so that's one of the things that I'm not really a fan of, not because because immigration helped my sister actually. One of my sisters, she was able to get her worker's card and she was able to get her diploma after 8 years. Yeah. So, because, if you're not a citizen and you go through school, they won't give you a diploma. They just give you a certificate of completion. Yeah. And so she finally was able to get her diploma. She was able to get her driver's license. So, her insurance and all these things in her name. And she was born. Was she born here? Yeah, she was born. No, she wasn't born here. She wasn't born here. She was brought here as a baby. So she's been here forever, right? But her daughter is, because that's my niece, but her daughter is born here, is a citizen. And so, and she has great work ethic, but she couldn't get paid livable wages because she didn't have a worker's card. She didn't have any green paper, whatever, right? She didn't have no papers that says she was legal. So finally, because of some of the laws that President Obama has made policy, she was able to get her worker's card.
Okay.
And so she's able to renew her, and like literally she got a worker's card. I guess after he released the policy, she had a worker's card in like 60 days.
Okay.
So they're really on top of it. Like as they, put policy, they're really on top of it. However, I have Jamaican friends
Yes.
whom have not received their citizenship and who have family that can't come over. I have Eritrean friends, which is Ethiopia, is a quarter of Eritrea, it's a corner. So I have Eritrean friends who are still waiting to bring their family over because the immigration is not fair. So that's my thing about Obama. But I will give President Barack a shout out because just recently he had this press conference in in the White House, and he had a little heckler, right?
I remember that.
So the thing is, Barack has always been, President Barack Obama has always been a soft-spoken guy. As a matter of fact, he really, if Biden hadn't dug his heels in the last debate when he was running for presidency, I'm not necessarily sure if he would have won.
Yes.
Biden really sealed, in my opinion, Biden really sealed the presidency for him. He's an exceptional vice president. I'm sad that he's past his prime because I believe he would be a great president. He ran for president a couple of times and we didn't vote him in, obviously, because we probably didn't know what he was capable of. Yeah. But, I think that he would have been an exceptional president. Nevertheless, if Biden hadn't sealed the debates for him, we wouldn't have voted him in because he was so soft-spoken and,
But here's one thing, too, I'd like to say. Biden gets away with a lot that Obama would not be able to get away with.
Yeah, that's true because he's the vice president. Yeah,
absolutely.
But nevertheless, I say that to say, if you look over history, because I have to do this sometimes when it's election season, I always look at our history because I'm kind of trying to see what the trend is as far as politics go. Because if you look at history, you can kind of predict what's going to happen next or how you should vote or whatever. And I will say this of we've had a couple of strong vice presidents, but in equal running state, I don't think we've had such a fantastic couple as Biden and President.
Oh, no, they are dynamic.
They're dynamic together, and they're really good at being a team. Yeah. And I'm outside of president, because his seat is about up, his presidency is about over. So outside of us, going through the world saying he's a 44th president, right? Mm-hmm. Saying, the 44th president was half black, outside of that being his largest legacy, I think one of the things we'll also be able to say is we had a successful team work in the White House. And so, congratulations to President Barack Obama and Vice President Biden. You know how I know that he's a great vice president? Because I know his name. Swear to goodness, if you go
that's kind of true though, right?
I know I never have to question. I'm never going back. He literally, the last, these 8 years, he has won me over as a fan. I have read his speeches. I've gone back and, just over history. Mm-hmm. I've read some of the things that he's done. He really is an exceptional man. And again, I wish he wasn't past his prime because I personally am not ready for Hillary. Mm. So my next, I wanted to talk about one more thing because what time am I? 15 minutes good. I'm in good time. So I want Rolando is over here tickled because I have my little beefs that I just kind of spat out, and that's what my show is about. I just kind of do me. Mm-hmm. And so the last thing I want to talk about is medical marijuana. And I didn't talk about it on Monday because I didn't do a show. So today is Friday, and I want to kind of just recap what the hell's going on. So, if everybody is watching what's going on with the medical marijuana, it's my soft spot, not just because I'm in the business, because it's my baby. But nevertheless, they just had another situation where they're trying to say that medical marijuana we aren't ready in this state because we can't make sure that the dispensaries are giving out as much medicine as they won't be getting too much medicine. Okay. So now the situation is they're saying So you can't have 14.2. We can't sell more than 14.2 grams every 2 weeks to a patient. Yeah, look at him. And so they're saying that we can't guarantee, that the dispensaries, they don't believe the dispensaries will be able to guarantee that we won't exceed that. Yeah. So they're trying to put in policy to delay us again. And I'm just going to say this. I am always, and you've heard me say this often, I am very proud of our legislature and our municipalities and their policies regarding medical marijuana. They have been strict. They have been very defined. But even with that, I believe that they are taking great care so that we don't make the mistakes that was made in Denver. Yeah. I believe, in Denver, there is something like a Green Mile. Okay. And Nevada is being very conscious not to have that. And so I respect the municipalities and the state legislature for being very clear when putting policy code and regulations together. Because, it's been hell, it's been a lot of red tape, but I can understand the necessity of doing it because we've heard so much from Colorado in the negative. Now, I will say this. Crime has gone down in Colorado since marijuana has been made legal. Wow. Yes. I think because everybody's just too relaxed to, However,
everybody chilling.
Everybody chilling. Okay. However, the homeless rate has gone up in Colorado. And I think part of that is because if I'm gonna be homeless, I might as well be high. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. But however, the taxes, the city itself has the first 6 months that medical marijuana was made recreational, they made $17 million in taxes. Wow. So imagine what that would do to our state, So I think because we have education issues, we have education funding issues. They have this whole bus thing that's going on right now. I don't know if you got, because I'm always watching everything, but there's a bus shortage because there's a school shortage, there's a teacher shortage, and if we had the extra funds, we could do better recruiting. That's a large issue because the teachers' pay is so minor, and especially I always talk about the prime 6 schools. So especially in our neighborhoods, getting good teachers is hard in our neighborhoods. And so if we had the extra income, we could do better strategies and making sure that the school system is good here.
That's a hot topic for me because I'm a former Clark County School District employee, and I used to actually work at Fitzgerald. And so
one of our prime 6.
I understand that seriously. It's challenging to think that, we talk about the children being our future, but we don't invest in them because they are our true dividends. I've been silent over here on the topics that aren't hot for me. But when it comes to education, I'm passionate about that. One of the reasons I left the district is because of our hands being tied on what we can do. I mean, I've spent the majority of my check. I left MGM making, about 50 as a salary and risk management. Right. And then started at the district at 26,000.
Oh my God.
And then when you put someone in a classroom who's not used to managing certain behaviors because of certain demographic issues that are inherent to those places, you set them up for failure. Yes. And it's just like any other program that they roll out. I feel like if you're going to give me a No Child Left Behind or a core, program, that should roll out in kindergarten the first year. Yeah. And then in the next year, kindergarten and first grade. Right. How do we adequately just say, okay, this program works or it doesn't work if we haven't really set it up to work?
Well, the No Child Left Behind was actually set up for us to fail, for the minorities to fail, not to
again.
Yeah,
hot topic.
I want to make sure everybody knows that that's a Bush thing. That's not an Obama thing. But the No Child Left Behind law, I'm a fan of because I was actually able to kind of manipulate the system to make sure that my son because my son has autism. Yeah. So because of the No Child Left Behind, I was able to use that to keep pushing my son ahead. So I am an advocate of it because of that. However, if you dial back, it really was used to keep minorities, below level, below par, so that we wouldn't be we wouldn't have to be held accountable to learning what we needed to learn.
Absolutely.
They could just keep pushing us through because they were, look, Rolando's like, what? Because they were pushing children through,
Yes.
pushing the kids, they have learning disabilities, they have reading disabilities, all these things. And so we'd get the children to high school and they'd have to stay because they couldn't pass proficiencies or whatever the case may be. And so
you can't properly gauge something like that unless you roll it out year by year.
I agree. And so, but I said that to say, I agree with you where if medical marijuana, if they can just get the doors open and the taxes start flowing in strategically, if they use that money, portion of it for education, because that's what it is in Colorado, a portion of it is being used for education. So if we're able to do that, we will I believe we could lower the dropout rate. We could offer more. One of the things that I hate about this city, and I say this, lovingly, because let me say the state. I love Nevada. This is my home. But one of the things that I hate about this state is we are raising children to work in the mills, right? And our mills being the casino.
Absolutely.
So because it's not, because the casinos don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to be forward thinking. They don't want you to want more. They just want you to be kind of stuck, because that's our mills. Those are our whole, what do they call it when mines? Those are our mines, right?
Absolutely.
The casinos are our factories, if you'd say. And so they don't want you to think. They want you to be order takers. So the education system is set up for us to fail. It's set up for us to just get the minimum, just to be able to count and read and basically sign a check. They don't want us to be entrepreneurs. They don't want us to be forward thinking. And this whole society is kind of built around that. The whole, and I watch people and I'm just like, oh my God, these people don't know, and I'm always talking about society on my show.
Okay.
So
but unless you come up in this system, you really wouldn't understand it.
You would, yeah. But because when you come into the Nevada has been so strategic, even with, and I don't think people even know this, but even with the tract homes, and they have been so strategic in making the idea of wealth reachable to the point, to the point where we are so brainwashed that we don't even see it. Like anywhere else, and I say this all the time. So our homes here, a $250,000 home is damn near a mansion in the South, right? But anybody here can own a $250,000 home, and they call it their mini mansion because that's what they see on TV. That's the portrayal on TV. But what people here don't understand is you still in the tract home, boo. They built 50 other homes just like yours. You still in a tract home. You did not have your home custom built, and they put that there for you to stay in these work mills. They put that there for you not to want more. That's your attainable ideology. You're talking to your homegirl and she's driving an Audi, pulling up in her mini mansion, which she believes because her family in the South can't afford that. They living in the shack, they working every day. So she believes, they come to her home and they big up in her. They talking, they're saying that, they're saying to their family, oh, she over there living large. The truth is that's not the case. That's how society, Nevada, has us believing that it's all been,
that's not the case. Just check the foreclosure.
Yes, it's all propaganda.
All of it.
It's all propaganda. But nevertheless, I just, if the people really get behind medical marijuana and, push not legislature, because we're out of legislature, but call your city officials, call your state officials, and have the conversation with them to get this going. Let's open these doors, because I know personally the business that I'm in, we have on paper that we have to hire because they made us say how many people that we were going to hire. That was one of the things that we had to fulfill in order to be considered for an app, or what they call for the state to give us a provisional license. And we said personally that we would have 24 employees. So I know that if I have to have 24 employees and there's 48 dispensaries and they all have to have 24 employees, I mean, that's a lot of jobs, right? So that's not outside of the cultivation. So the faster we get these businesses up and running, the more people we can employ, the better. And then the way the taxes come out, and it just helps the community abroad. So I just wanted to kind of say that in this that's been my rant. That's my 30-minute rant this morning. And that was for a week too, because I haven't been. I know, so I tempered it. I tempered it. I could go an hour. Rolando, I go for an hour. No. So that's my rant for today. I really should have called this show The Rant. Okay. I should have called it Aisha's Rant. But anyway, this is Life of a Daughter, and so it's my greatest pleasure to introduce to some, to remind others. This is Miss Toni Ellis, and she has a product called Soul Spark. Do you call it a product?
Well, I don't actually call it a product. It's actually a brand now.
A brand, okay.
Soul Sparking is a brand because when I actually spoke with my first branding strategist, she says, well, what is your brand? And I was so unclear on what she was talking about, having no experience in that area. She just decided to speak with 10 to 15 people who know me.
Okay,
who have spent some time with me, who some I think don't even like me. Right. What she came back with. But she basically said, you know what? When people leave you, they start thinking more deeply about their souls. Good. And I said, ooh, okay, that's new to me. So I just practiced using that label, no more clarity as the spoken word artist, no more just Toni Ellis, who sang with Vision of Praise. And,
you sang with Vision of Praise?
Yeah, she sang with Sharon Smith. I went to Japan with them and everything.
Okay.
But, to change or reintroduce myself to the community that I spend a lot of my time in. I just started putting information up on Facebook. January 1 of 2014, branding myself as the Soul Sparker. So it's kind of caught on now.
It's funny because I didn't know you before Soul Spark. So
wow,
yeah,
interesting.
Which is great. It's good for me because that's all I know. So yeah, so I respect you, and in that area. As a matter of fact, once I had met you personally, because I met you at Roz, I talked to Roz too. I have to have her on the show. But when I met you at Roz, I was already familiar with you. I'm always familiar for the people who I know are making moves, who want to change the world. And you were one of those people. So I was very.
Thank you, sis. That means a lot coming from you.
Oh,
especially with the respect that you have in the community. I guess you keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on, not just here locally, but around the world. So that means a lot to me to say that you saw me as a mover and a shaker. Yeah,
but when it's one of the things that I love about Nevada is the fact that they make it hard for us to become something, right? But one of the things and the reason why I say that is because if you can build a brand here, you can do it anywhere.
Absolutely.
Because we're really not easy going. It's a hard market. Yeah, it's a hard market to penetrate. So if you can penetrate this market, you can be a beast.
Absolutely.
Anywhere.
And we know this.
Yes. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, man, if you can build your brand and be consistent in this city, you can do it anywhere, because we don't play here. We're really not forgiving.
We're not forgiving. That's so true. It's funny because when it comes to thinking about this whole brand thing and how you got to know me, I think about transitioning from doing to being. And it was like, okay, who do I connect with in this community to just be who I am and not always constantly be on someone's agenda or someone else's team to do what they want of me to do. And so that's how this came about. Like, okay, I know who I am now.
What I really love is because I don't just watch people, I watch the people that hang around. And I've learned to do that. Actually, one of my mentors taught me that. You are defined by the 3 people that that influence you the most. And so I don't watch just people. I watch the people that they hang around. So one of the things that I love about you is I've never seen you in an area where your light couldn't shine. And so that has always been like, and it's only been a year. But I'm always impressed by the people who find a way to be in a space that lets them be them.
Absolutely.
Because that's really difficult.
It's new for me. No, seriously. I mean, I've always, people that know me know who Toni Ellis is. But that's new for me to just be okay with who Toni Ellis is, even though so many people on the outside were.
Right. Yes, I do. Yeah, I had that. I just turned 40, and that was my largest feat was embracing me. As a matter of fact, I had a situation where I went to a girlfriend's house. She's not even a girlfriend's Facebook friend. And I was like, I'm going to go to her Taco Tuesday. They were talking about it. And I like to invite myself places sometimes because I'm weird, I'm strange. I just want to see what's going on. Sometimes I'm a very curious person. I love people. I always say I don't like people, but I do love people. I like to be in the know also. If I see you doing some things and I haven't really engaged with you, I want to engage. I don't want to be, and I want to be a service, So I was saying that to a friend we were talking about, and I was like, I went to Taco Tuesday. I fell asleep. I was so embarrassed. I fell asleep, right? I was so tired. I had a rough day, but I promised to go. So I went. He was like, do you know those people? I said, they're on my Facebook. He's like, but you don't know him. You went to their house. And I was like, He said, I know that you're weird. And you embrace your weirdness, but that's really weird.
To me, that's like being open to the possibility.
I am.
When you talk about rounding into 40, I'm rounding into 46 in September.
Oh my God! But you look so good.
Well, thank you. Everywhere. No, but for real, when it comes down to that, it's like, okay, I'm open to the possibilities, which means I'm open to enlarging my territory, enlarging my circle of influence, enlarging my circle of wisdom.
Yes.
This is what we're doing right now.
Right, exactly.
To know one another on air a little deeper than each other outside.
Yes. And also the people watching, because we do have some viewers, they also get an opportunity to see a portion of you. Because one of the things that I found is being a mover and a shaker, being a woman of influence, is that people have a perception of who you are, and they never really get to hear your heart.
Yeah.
And I thought I turned this down.
It's okay. Maybe it's a caller that wants to say a little something.
Let's do that. There you go. Okay. So, we're not in an area where people get to know us personally. So this show offers that opportunity. They can go back and kind of say, oh, I saw an interview with her and she was this and she was that. Also, typically interviews are like 15 minutes. So you never really, and they're structured to the point where they're the idea of who the host is and not necessarily the person. So what I want to talk about, because I know you have a project coming up, but let's talk about Soul Spark first. Because I know you have, and I see it here.
I have Soul Sparking sessions with Tony over at the West Las Vegas Library Theater. And that was opened up to me by Miss Yanni. Miss Yanni and Miss Jewel. Those are our shining stars.
Yes.
And they're kind of like silent partners to everybody doing something.
Yes. But I don't think they know who Yanni is. So can you tell the people who Yanni is?
Miss Yanni is the coordinator over at the West Las Vegas Library Theater. If you need to use any of the space over there, if you want to reserve the theater for anything going on, she's the one to get in contact with.
And she's a twin.
Yes, she is an identical twin.
Yes, and it's kind of weird.
It is kind of weird because her sister, Melissa Jewel Jeppe, she works over there at the West Las Vegas Arts Center.
Right.
And so they're like side by side, working in conjunction with one another, collaborating all the time. So anytime Miss Yanni is opening the library to me, Miss Jewel comes over and lets me know. And anything you need over there at the Arts Center, we're here for
Let us know.
And how that came about, my daughter used to be a part of their program over at the West Las Vegas Arts Center, the Performing and Visual Arts Summer Camp.
Okay.
And it's going on right now. It's an 8-week program where they teach you all disciplines of the arts.
Okay.
And when my daughter graduated from high school and left and went to go to college in Alabama, I was like, how can I stay connected to this community? Because I didn't have any more children to put through there. Even though I have 2 bonus baby girls, I share them with their mother who lives in Green Valley. Right. So during that week, I wouldn't have them when they would be a part of this program. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to be a part of this program whether or not they let me. And I started cooking for the elders.
Oh, wow.
A soul food dinner every single summer.
Wow.
And so now, it's like I'm a part of it. Last year, I was actually able to be on their team, their writing team for the finale program.
So I want to just take a moment and say the West Las Vegas Arts Center is, because I'm a executive board on NAACP. It's one of our pet projects. We're always trying to figure out how to get in more money. Literally. literally, and not minimal money, like real money. But they are an exceptional African American dance team. They have won awards. It's unfortunate that people don't book them enough. You know, I really should like go on a whole campaign to make people book them.
Seriously.
I really should.
I think on that team, honestly.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that
right now.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a project for me. I'm going to talk to the NAACP and see if they want to partner, but I'm going to call them and I'm going to do a campaign for that, because what happens is they're exceptional arts team, right? The dance team, and they do performing arts, but they're only doing like 1 or 2 or 3 shows. And so they practice and train, and I mean like professionals. Seriously. Just really exceptional. But they're doing 2 and 3 shows, and it's not fair. You know,
not enough.
It's not enough exposure for them for their work. Anytime I'm doing something, I always try to, you know, because I'm a fan of I just dropped his name.
That's okay. Which dancer are you talking about? You're talking about a dancer?
Yes.
Avery.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a fan of Avery. So I'm always like, Avery, can you come do this? Get the kids. Get the kids to come do this. Even if I can just get 4 kids, you know, if I can just get and
creating opportunities for them to present. I found myself doing that back in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. Until I ran out of funds.
Yeah. And then that's the real issue. Like you run out of arenas for them to. However, I'm going to start, I'm going to get with them. I'm going to make myself a nude. Okay. But I'm going to actually do that, because we need to utilize these young people, because if we're not utilizing their arts, which you and I both know, if we're not using the arts creatively in our communities, then they're missing the opportunity and they lose hope. Yeah. Because they'll say there is no opportunities for my art, you know, so we need to create avenues so that they don't lose hope.
Absolutely.
So you're cooking soul food. Now you're part of the team.
I'm part of the team.
And you have your so tell me a little bit about your Soul Spark.
My Soul Sparking session.
Yeah, session.
So what happened was, because
I like this one, Daddy's Girl.
Oh, we just did that one. That one was amazing. We had about 3 or 4 breakthroughs in the room that I was not really prepared for, but I had a pastor there who was there to support me, someone in the community who has some other passions about, you know, this topic. But when it came down to it, I said, in speaking with my business coach, she says, Tony, you're a speaker, you're an awesome speaker. You polarize the audience to, you know, get in action. You need to be on more platforms. You know, I was doing a lot of traveling. I had stopped really doing a lot of things here in the community. Right. And it started just, you know, like you said, Vegas is a tough nut to crack.
Yes.
You know? So like, okay, if I can't do what I really would like to do, what I'm passionate about here, I'm going to do it elsewhere.
Absolutely.
She said, well, create your own platform.
Absolutely.
What community, you know, do you belong to that would be willing to partner with you? So, of course, Miss Yanni and Miss Jewel came up first. That was like, okay, let me call Miss Yanni. I do enough things over there. And so I really just sat down with her and coordinated an opportunity for not just me, but for the library itself to partner with one another so that we can offer some free and open to the public workshops. And so these soul sparking sessions are all about that. Good. You know, I'm passionate about individuals pressing past their pain and getting into a position of purpose. And I found myself sitting on my couch many nights on the phone with many people, you know, encouraging them to get past these issues. And then I realized, you know what, this is what I love doing. You know, as a teacher, I wasn't just a teacher, I was a guidance counselor as well. And when my door was swinging wide open, it was mainly teachers coming there to sit in front of me to tell me all of their various issues. And I found myself not even being able to serve the community that I was hired to serve, really. And I said, you know what, this is what I do. But this is also who I am. This is what I'm passionate about. If it's one person in the room or 23 people in the room, that's good for me. Or 2,300. You know, I enjoy the intimate setting because I'm a very transparent person.
Me too.
Like to a fault. Like you later on be like, girl, why did you say that? If you think it through, when I walk away, I'm thinking it through like, I really did say that. I'm the same way. I have to dial back and be like, ooh, might have needed to, oh, well, it's out now. It's out now. And I've learned now to taper that a bit, but it's still part of what drives me. Because there are too many secrets in our community. Absolutely. There's too many secrets in the world, period. Absolutely, I agree. And if we, you know, what you say, pull the
unveil,
cover it back and unveil. We're all pretty much the same.
Absolutely.
We just all want to be loved, accepted unconditionally.
Yes.
We want to be heard.
Yes.
And so this is my opportunity to do that for people.
So tell the people the next sessions you have.
The next session, which will be Saturday, July 11th at 2 p.m., is Sparkle.
Okay.
And that's more my brand.
Okay.
From January on to June, it was more about what to offer the people.
Right.
This is an introduction, a formal introduction of who I am.
Oh, good.
I feel like there's something perfect about a reflection in all of us that kindles love, esteem in others. So I don't think any of us are perfect, but there's something perfect about us that causes us to show up in the room differently than others do. And so I want people to embrace that sparkle. That's something perfect about your reflection that kindles love, esteem in others.
Absolutely. You know, I'm really in a space where I don't believe in perfection anymore. It was one of the most difficult things that I had to embrace this year.
Okay.
And it's driving a few people in my life crazy because they'll be like, you should have blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, yep, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, instead of arguing my point or trying to prove where I should have been right, I just stopped doing it. And I say, you know what?
You're right.
You're right. And it's driving people crazy. They're like, you're not even going to argue with me and you're not going to
agree with them.
I agree. Well, in most instances they are, you know, but I have to be in a space where I can embrace my imperfections and grow, you know, not have to prove who I am, but like you said, be able to see that woman in the mirror and just be able to say, hey, I know her.
Yes.
I'm familiar with her and I know where she aches and where she, you know, but just understand that that's my perfect imperfection.
Yes. That's your sparkle.
That's my sparkle. And so I think you know, and it's been really healing for me. I've had, even to the point the last 2 days, I've had two challenging days. They were been really challenging. I was telling my mom yesterday as I was sitting on the couch, I said, you know what's so funny is these last 2 days have been really challenging. I mean, I squirt mustard on myself, spilled coffee, ran out of gas, just it's 108 degrees. Yesterday it's just been a lot of unforeseen circumstances.
Yes.
But even when I got home, I didn't feel defeated.
Okay.
And you know how usually you have those days where when you get home, you're like, oh,
you this was quit.
Yeah. And I didn't. I did not have that emotional distress. I didn't have none of it. I just was like, today was kind of challenging.
Yeah.
And I just went on.
Okay.
You know,
I don't know about your business.
But it's because I'm not a fan of that control anymore. Like I'm not wishing for it. I'm not searching for it. I don't need it. It's not a necessity. It was causing me great distraction in my peace. So I let it go.
I like to say that's like the expiration date for the BS.
Yes.
Like once you turn 40, it's like your tolerance level becomes zero. There's a lot of things that go wrong after 40, but there's a lot of things that go right after 40.
Yes.
And I didn't really understand it until I rounded into it.
Yes.
It's like, okay, losing my sight a little bit.
Yes.
Can't see up close anymore. Got to hold things a mile away from me to read it.
Yes.
But when I'm on a conversation where it's not working for me, it's like, you know what? I love you, but I gotta go. I appreciate you. I'm here to support you. And you know, my sister reminded me yesterday. She said, "But you were there. You got on people's nerves with the same stuff, repetitive, and you were in your 30s, you were in your 20s, and you have to be patient." And so, like you said, I said, "You're right. I do, but I can pick and choose.
I can pick and choose,
and I will keep that in my mind.
Yes,
you know what? I've been there.
Yes,
that's part of the draw of people that come to this workshop and then come back again, because I'm not afraid to say what I have done wrong.
Yes,
and then put on top of it how I've grown from that situation. Like you said, you're learning from these mistakes now and moving forward. That's part of our wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that all the time. I'm like, I'm the richest woman in the world. I have great people in my life. I love great people. Great people love me. You can't, what else could you want or need?
Absolutely.
The moment I said to myself, my God loves me wholly, and I really embraced that, it just made everything else insignificant. It was like, I don't care who you are, what you got going on. I can hide and disappear in a minute because I love me. But I also know that my God loves me wholly. And I only just embrace that. But you know what you said that I want to point out to the people is, Miss Ellis, what you said was someone told you to build your own platform. And it's not just that we don't say that to each other, but you weren't afraid to do that. You had enough confidence in what you had to offer. And I believe that there's a lot of confidence in serving. I think that people aren't confident when they're not in a space of service.
Absolutely.
You know, anytime you're doing something that is selfish, it makes you a little
self-conscious.
Yes,
because it is self-centered.
It is self-centered, self-focused, self-engaged. But when you're in a space of service, you get that confidence. You're just looking for support. And so I appreciate you putting this together. But I also know, because we got a couple of minutes. Okay. I mean, we got a little time.
Yeah,
but you know.
I got you.
But I also know personally that you have a project coming up. And I don't want to give that, you know, I don't want to neglect the people.
I got
you. But because we can talk about love and life all over. Now, I'm a business coach. Business is my passion. You know, and I have to explain this to people all the time because they be like, you should really do this. I don't do that because I don't like it. Okay. I don't do life coaching because I personally am not a fan of life coaching. Not that I don't believe in it, because I do, but I'm not a fan of it because it's not a part of me. I'm a business coach. If you have any conversation with me, is somehow, some way, is going to go back to business.
And that's what I had to come to the realization of, was that I'm not a business coach.
Right.
I am a life coach. Right. I am that person that helps you gain more clarity.
Right.
I may not even be the coach that ushers you through the process entirely. Right. But I'm the coach that gets you clear on it.
Right. Clarity coach.
Indeed.
And so, and I say that because there is a difference. If you have a conversation with me, whatever's going on with your life, I'm going to probably say, so what's going on with your business? Or you got a business, where's your passion? That's kind of how I get down. So with that being said, she has a new project that's coming up. And when I read it, and then I watched it, I just was like, oh my goodness, this is beast. And one of the reasons is because I am I'm a product of your new product that you have coming out. So on two ends, I come from one, and then I'm also a part of one. So what she has coming up is called the Blended Family Project.
Beautifully blended.
Beautifully blended project. And it is a program that will be based on blended families. It's a team project, if I'm clear.
Yes, actually, what started as a promotional video for a collaborative book project of individuals that have stories about overcoming adversarial moments in their blended family dynamics has grown into a feature film.
Right.
We're actually going to put a feature film together, and there will be a conference in 2016 that caters just to blended families. Now, here's the deal. When I started researching on Google and the internet and looking up Beautifully Blended to see if there was a book title for that, to see if that would be a great title and not already used, I came up with concoctions for alcoholic drinks, beautifully blended drinks, but mainly individuals who are of multiracial descent. That, parents from different backgrounds coming together. And I said, okay, that is another blended family. Yes. That is another beautifully blended family. And if you'll notice, you saw the promotional video. Yep. One of the people featured in the video is actually beautifully blended on that level as well.
Absolutely, I saw that.
A Caucasian female whose her husband is African American. Yeah. But she just found out, she thought she was of Italian and Irish descent. She just found out that after her mother passed away, that her father, her birth father, who she never had a relationship with, was half Black.
Oh, wow.
So she essentially is Black, of course, by American standards. But wow, it just trips me out how when I started digging deeper into this topic, into the subject matter, that it reaches so many of us in this community.
Absolutely.
All of us are really part of some type of
blended family. I agree.
If it's not by marriage, and really the focus was the children.
Right.
It's like, you know what? When it came down to it, I'm a first wife who had a child from a previous relationship who is now a second wife.
Right.
And he brought children from his previous relationship. And I have always respected that first wife's position because I was a first wife.
Right.
It's and having had my daughter go through her, situation with a second mother. Right. A step parent. I was like, I don't want to be that.
Right.
But I also had the demonstration of my mother who stood in adversarial time. My mother's been married 3 times.
Oh, wow.
So I've got blends on all types of sides. Right. It's like, wait a minute, which one of y'all are really
right?
But getting back to that respect for the first wife, my present husband's first wife, it was all about the children. It was all about what will be their testimony about who their stepmother was to them. Now, we all have seen Cinderella. We've seen everything they put on television. When it comes to a step parent, you're automatically the enemy.
Right.
But how do you position yourself that when the dust settles, they will look back and judge you on your merits and yours alone?
Yes.
And that was what was important to me.
Yes.
So I felt like, and here's the deal. My husband's first wife was so angry at him still for the things that he had done to her. And again, I didn't know who he was. I was just marrying him. Give me a chance to get to know who this brother is, because I understand. I know what it's like to have a first husband and then he moves on with somebody
and he looks happy.
He looks like everything's. But trust me, girl, if he ain't got over it, that man is gonna show up.
Yes.
Leave that to us, but not to drag my child in the midst of it. And so, because my husband is a prominent physician in this community, and money was the last weapon, and I understand that because, you know, she was married to him and had 2 kids. I believe the lie that she told on my daughter was really what she wanted to tell on my husband, but she knew that he would lose part of what she was trying to get. And what she had done was accuse my daughter as an 11-year-old of molesting her 2 girls.
Oh my Jesus.
Now that, listen, the only child I've ever had and could ever have, that's enough to make you want to hurt somebody in a real way. But because of what I'd seen of a foundation that my mother had laid, and because, you know, sometimes I saw my mom act up foolish, not with stepmothers and stuff like that, just people in general, because I'd seen my mother end up in jail. I didn't want to go to jail. I didn't want to, you know. But
that's one hell of a hit.
Listen,
in a blended, you know what I mean? That's, but you know, because it
wasn't just a hit. It was an attack. It actually, that rumor spread around our church, and CPS got involved.
Of course.
But CPS looked at us. They never got to us. Because we were ordered for some type of counseling. She was not only saying that my daughter was abusing, but that I was abusing them as well. And when the counselor sat us down and looked at our dynamic, watched how the girls clung to me, and, you know. They were like, "I'm so sorry that we brought you here."
Yes.
And I didn't realize how often lies are told on people.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a lie. That's a lie easy to believe.
Yes.
You know why? Because I was molested by my father.
Okay.
And so it would be easy
to believe
that seed.
Yes.
That something wrong has happened. You know, it's easy.
But I'm not a fan of CPS, right? Because one of the things is, especially in the state of Nevada, they were actually sued for this because they weren't focused on blending families back to, you know, bringing family. Yeah, they were sued for that. But one of the things that I have an issue with is, so I was taken out of home for child abuse. My stepdad, but you know, it wasn't a stepdad issue; it was just a family issue. My stepdad beat me, and so they took me out of house a couple of times. Nevertheless, when I went to counseling, they tried to persuade me to believe that my father molested me. They had conversations with my grandparents. My grandparents had conversations with me. They wanted me, and then they wanted me to hate you know, they have conversations with you. They want you to hate your father. It's okay to hate your dad and stuff like that. Like they wanted me to believe those lies as a child, and I had to and which, like you said, would be easy to believe because I have grandparents who are like, you can come live with us, and you know, you don't have to be accountable for anything, and you know, you have all of these circles going around. And I was a product of a blended family. It was my stepdad, his son, my mom, and her newborn baby at that time, the first time. But yeah, they wanted me to believe those lies. Even had my grandma wrapped up in it. My grandma trying to get me to remember when my father molested me, which was just lies. You know, my dad is overly affectionate. He's always been affectionate, but he's never handled us or touched us. You know what I mean? He's never done that. He's loving, and it's annoying. You know, sometimes it's annoying because you know, it's but yes, they hear a lot of lies, and you know, it's unfortunate because they get paid for those lies.
Absolutely.
So,
but getting back to this whole blended family project, this is a huge project. I feel like we need more reference tools or more resources that we can identify with the actual.
Yes.
I mean,
that work.
Yeah, that work.
That work.
You know, through adversity, because though that was the accusation back in 2002,
right?
Today, I'm in her home,
right?
As the co-parent, helping to take pictures for our daughter for prom,
right?
No, we're not in a perfect relationship, but we are beautifully blended in that we respect each other, in this season. And one reason she maintained respect for me is because I never disrespected her,
right?
Regardless of what was even being said about my daughter,
right?
I stood. You don't have to act ugly, you
right?
Don't have to turn ugliness for ugliness, You don't have to lash out, even if it hurts. You know, to stand in the midst of it, take the pain.
Yes.
Because this too will pass.
Yes.
There will be another day. You know what I'm saying? You go from accusing me of something to kissing me on my cheek saying thank you.
Yes. Blended family, and I say this all the time, we have to make and I'm glad you're offering this. I'm glad that you guys are going to be putting the book out, putting the feature film, and then also doing workshops, because it's important. Because, you know, if the divorce rate is 50%, then that means that blended families are 50%.
More than that,
you know,
it's
so
even higher for blended families.
And there you go. And I know I'm a product of a blended family on two ways. I'm the child of a blended family, and then also my son. You know, my ex-husband is married with 2 more children, and I was the first wife. She's the second wife, and you know, they, like you said. The whole world and society wants you to believe that there has to be baby mama drama and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't have to be that way. Someone has to make a decision that it's not going to be that way.
Exactly.
And that's all it is. Just decide.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that way. I have some, you know, situations like you said, there's some new, my ex-husband is now married, and he's been married now for 2 years. So now his new wife, I think she feels a little threatened by our friendship.
Yes.
You know, because we've always been able to be friends. I don't want him. He's a good guy, not the right guy, you know, but I think she's a little threatened by our friendship. And so she's sparked some drama in the community, because it's easy to spark. When you're a woman of influence, I say this all the time, this comes with sacrifice. You know what I mean? And I stay under the radar.
And exposure.
Yes. I try to stay under the radar. Like, I try to stay like right under the radar. I don't show up everywhere. I don't have conversations with everyone. Nevertheless, they still think they know your business, right? So this young lady, you know, and I still love her for all intents and purposes, but I had to find out through the community that she was spewing
venom,
and I couldn't
off guard,
because I was so appalled. I was appalled because I had never spoken anything bad about her. But even in that, like you said, I had a choice. Even though she was, you know, spewing venom and speaking gossip, and I still had to say, who I am in this community and who I am as a lady matters more than this information.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the choice that we have to make all the time. Who I am as a lady, to me first. That's why I say that I'm a lady, and I had to embrace that. And I always want to stay a woman of class.
Absolutely.
And I want to always present myself in a space where people can respect me and have someone to look up to.
Can I just say, I don't always present myself as a woman of class. I'm just going to be real on that level. Meaning, I use my share of ebonics in
of course.
And that could be considered not so classy.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
When it comes to that, it was like, never let them see you sweat.
Right.
Oh, behind closed doors, my husband was getting the business concerning what his baby and mama was saying about my baby. I cried. You know what I'm saying? I cried. I was hurt. But at the same time, I still looked at those girls. I still looked at my daughters.
Exactly.
They were 3 and 4 at the time. They deserved a safe environment.
Exactly.
Which meant I didn't talk about their mom.
Exactly. That's what I mean by respect and being an understanding blended family. We have to. So I appreciate you having Beautifully Blended coming up. When can we expect the book first?
The book is going to be out it's the same time as the conference.
We're doing a
major book launch.
Okay, great.
So that's around mid-May to early June. We haven't finalize the date, so I'll come back to do that.
Perfect. And I always like launches. I always say to everyone, make sure if you have projects, businesses, services, do a launch. Don't just start doing stuff, because then it doesn't become important to you. It doesn't become important to the people. Exactly. Always do large launches. That's what business coaches tell you. Yeah. Do large launches. Launch your stuff. It's very important.
It's an event.
It's an event. So I look forward to the Blended Family, Beautifully Blended book. And weekend workshop. I will absolutely be in the seats. I will be cheering you guys on.
Thank you for inviting me here too.
Thank you for coming.
Time out to get to know a little bit more about the Soul Sparker.
Thank you very much for coming. I hope the people got a lot of information. And if you're looking for Tony Ellis, you can find her at
www.soulsparking.com or on Instagram as The Soul Sparker.
All right. You've been listening to Aisha Goins with Tony Ellis, and you've been watching Life of a Daughter at Radio Tribune. Radio Tribune. Have a good day.